right, welcome guys to week 3 of the ASMR GT3 series season 3 here at Silverstone, a wet Silverstone at present. This race about 20 minutes in already. Apologies for a bit of a technical difficulty on my end, YouTube account. But anyways, back to it. Nothing out of the ordinary right now. We have, as you'll see in just a moment, Mr. Dave Barkley in that number 46 Corvette leading the field. That all too familiar green, white, and yellow livery we saw take the victory last week at Road America in an exciting finish between himself and second place David De Silva in that 39 Roxy replica for iRacing. Familiar conditions. Let's see if the wet might shake things up a little bit. We got a new name of the field today. No, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce your last name because I have a feeling I would do you a disservice. But a very good effort so far, even with a little front end damage to that Ferrari 296 GT3. Still setting a good pace at 7 seconds gap back from Barkley in first. Running fourth right now, up 3 positions from the start, is Ari Sherwood. And yet another Ferrari. Number 93, running well in the 4th position, Mr. Daniel Jensen. The all too familiar number 4, Porsche, rounds out the top 5. Pretty spare out field at the moment. You're looking at about the closest gap in the field between Jensen and Sherwood for that 4th and 5th position. Let's go on board for just a minute with Jensen as he wheels his Porsche 911 around a slick, wet Silverstone racetrack. Beautiful sights and sounds out of that number 4 Porsche GT3. iRacing doing an excellent job of recreating this particular car all the way down to the gearbox and everything. True treat to listen to. Closing now, a bit of a traffic jam in front of Ari right now. See if we can figure out who is in front here. Sorry, who is behind the number 93 Ferrari now. Looks like it's gonna be Chris. That number 77 Ferrari, very similar looking to Ferraris. Hard to tell who is in which position for just a moment there. But Ari makes the pass there and sets sail once again, stretching that gap back out to just over 2 seconds back to Dan Jensen. Heavy miss. Let's jump back on board Chris's car and see what that mist looks like. Right behind, and actually pacing pretty well with Ari right now. hop back on that roll bar cam and see what kind of visibility these drivers are dealing with in traffic. Not looking too bad. It is midday, so that's cutting through that moisture just a little bit, making it slightly easier for these drivers to view the racetrack and the traffic in front of them. Not too much of an issue at present. Currently a bit of a strategy mix-up in the field. We got just over half the field still on dry compound, those slick tires. First through 5th position, the first car on wets is the Porsche of Alex Wiggins at Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's Mossy Oak, Tracker Boats and ATVs, Winchester Arms, Dow Chemical sponsored Porsche. I think we fit all of them in there. Very sharp looking race car, that camouflage. Wiggins brought that number 11 Porsche home to a 4th place finish. Good showing out of the Michigan native. Of course, that being week 2 last week at Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Not too far from home. Suppose maybe we should expect a fairly good showing. Interval up front right here between P3 and P2 is closing. Excuse me, P3 and P4, as Ari is actually picking up the pace and quickly running down that 3rd place, number 42 Ferrari. Closely trailed by the lap car, Chris Pio in that 77. Once again, it's going to be hard to keep those two straight. Which one's leading, which is following. Same color pattern on both those cars. 93 is the one. The lead currently. Head car is the one that is fighting for this 3rd spot, just ahead. Gap sitting at just under a second still. Jumping back through the field, we got Doug Arkwright in this Bilstein Shocks Audi R8 GT3 Evo. Looking mighty fine. Good colors on that car. Number 41, running a pretty consistent race today. Currently on wet tires. See if maybe some ground can be made up. Currently sitting 40 seconds behind the lead. Gaining pretty decently off that corner, as you can see by the interval. As we see our 3rd place car hit pits. Sorry, maybe a disconnect. It's like that battle for 3rd is over, as Noah has a disconnect in that 42 Ferrari. We currently see Barkley, De Silva, Sherwood, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, all in the pits. See if they elect to stay on dry, slick tires, or if they elect to put on wets. De Silva's going to go for wets, according to our board. go ahead and get that tire compound thrown up there, and it's not going to work for us, so we won't worry about it. That's all right. We can keep you updated the old-fashioned way. I will tell you. Looks like Barkley's going to stay on dry tires. Elects to stay on slicks in first place. De Silva, Wiggins, Sherwood, all three elect to switch to wets. We will see how the payoff goes for that. By the end of the race, we're about the halfway point. Just past halfway, actually, of this 50-minute race. We're sitting at 31 minutes. Lap 15 is your leader out front. Still that number 46 Corvette of Dave Barkley, followed by Dave De Silva. Always fetching Roxy. And another Porsche in third place. Wiggins overtakes Sherwood for that third position. Expect that battle to heat up again. We've seen Ari definitely fast in the wet, but maybe not as fast on wet tires. That is the difference. That 11 Porsche has a few more laps to get used to those wet tires. Already has a feel for what the car is going to do on them, whereas Ari might have to feel out that car just a little bit on this out lap before pushing it too hard to catch up to that third place Porsche. Jensen also pretty bold, still on slicks. Lights come on the lead Porsche as we see the sun glinting off second place De Silva. Sorry, not De Silva. It looks like that's going to be Chris Pio in that 77 lap car. Car's already out of the race. Looks like Cody Schultz had an early... sorry, actually on pit lane now. I believe possibly repairing damage by the looks of it. The front end of that number 5 Porsche pretty smashed up. And Linda Barkley looks like never made the grid according to my timing and scoring, but we had technical difficulties, so I might have missed that exit as we see that second place Porsche go screaming by. Haven't spent a whole lot of time with De Silva. Let's ride along for a couple laps. Not much of a battle per second, but we're looking at Ari Sherwood sitting at about 20 seconds behind. Currently right now, actually side-by-side battle for that third spot. Pardon me. It is getting spicy back here for this third position. I did warn you this would not be over yet. A little bit of leaning, a little bit of argy-bargy. But the 93 muscles its way through back into that third spot as Wiggins falls to fourth. I have to wonder if Wiggins is going to have something to say about that. That all depends on if he's got the pace to catch back up. Gets within a car length there. Not going to be enough. It's going to take a major slip up. Oh, a bit of a slip up there. Half a car behind now. Wiggins with the run down the straight. Using all of that toe, is going to look to the inside. Looks like he has position alongside now. Will we see a crossover? Goes for the crossover. Wiggins still going to have an advantage to the next corner. Sherwood managing to hold alongside, but with that inside lane, Wiggins going to have the advantage here. Going to cleanly make that pass. Big show from Sherwood, trying to get in Wiggins' head, and it works. Wiggins overshoots. Sherwood goes sailing right on by once again. Great battle here for third as the rain continues to fall here at Silverstone Circuit. Silverstone, of course, former RAF bomber station back between 1943 and 46. Battles may have waged back then, but they aren't done yet. Of course, as we see them on track here during this race. Cool down for just a moment as they navigate the former 3 runways of that RAF bomber station. Go ahead and throw our track map up on screens. Keep an eye on where these drivers are throughout the circuit. These two navigating through Luffield currently, headed up to Woodcote. That slight kink that they are taking that right-hand jog through right now. Up to Cops. Bar here as to enter Maggots and Beckett's this high-speed chicane section. Followed by Chapel Curve, which leads out onto the Hangar Straight. Of course, referencing back to that RAF Air Station theme of this racetrack. Right-hander at the end of Hangar is Stowe. Nice wide exit there, keeping all the momentum up. Charge downhill. Vale chicane. Around the club and onto the Hamilton Straight. So take a bit of a double apex here, clipping that inside on exit. To the right hand, high-speed Abbey. Left-hand farm curve. Out of the tight kink that is Village Corner. It'll be left-hand after this, and this hairpin, that is the loop. Around the second part of this corner. Oh, as we see a spin on the third place car. Wiggins goes by. Big slide in the wet. Avari Sherwood going to cost one spot, and it's going to be a long way to track down Wiggins with just under 10 minutes left. Through Brooklands into Luffield once again to complete our tour of the track. Big costly mistake there for Sherwood. It's going to take a bigger mistake on Wiggins to get that spot back at this point in the race. As the rain continues to pound and keep this track damp. Connor and Jensen back here, 5th place, still on slicks. Holding it down in 5th. Decent pace to match. Saw 2:13 out of the leader Barkley. We'll stay with Jensen for the remainder of the lap, see what the difference is on pace between those wets and the dry tires. Scratch that, not much of a difference. Well, I mean, the difference is null because Barkley also still leading on slicks. In that 46 Corvette. So we haven't had a chance to talk about yet, Frost Buddy, Audi R8, and Patrick Caro. All familiar 91. If you followed along with the ASMR and various NASCAR series, currently in the truck series season at present, if you'd like to watch that at some point, that's taking place on Wednesday nights. If you take yourself over to the Turn 3 Racing Network YouTube page, you can find those live streams along with many others. Broadcaster for Wednesday nights is a fellow known as Dave in the Cave, providing excellent broadcast commentary. And a lot less technical difficulties. Cora holding it down in 6th place. Pretty solid race. Andy Spicer and yet another white, blue, and orange Ferrari. Just trying to make it absolute hell on the announcer booth to try to keep them all straight. Very slow through that section there on the wets as we see De Silva hard charging that Porsche right behind. Big slide from De Silva there. Oh, and behind De Silva we see, I'm sorry, not Jensen, that was Doug Argabright. Gets Audi the right way around. Big slide there. Comfortable gap back to second place, 27 seconds back to De Silva. Looks like it's going to be another comfortable cruise to a win, a little more comfortable than last week, where Barkley and De Silva had pretty similar place, swapping the lead several times throughout the course of the Road America sprint race. Both very capable drivers. Pretty spread out field. Pretty much a 10-second plus gap between all the drivers. If only it was NASCAR, we could have a caution to bunch them all back up. But unfortunately, no full course yellows to be found here. Unlike today's Michigan NASCAR race, if you happen to watch the conclusion of that. Bit of an interesting call by NASCAR to throw out the late caution for what seemed like a minor incident, Martin Truex Jr., but I digress. I bet you no one's having as much fun out here as De Silva. I see that back end skewing out quite a bit off that hairpin section every time by. Porsche can be a pretty fun car to slide around. Until it's not. Porsche being what it is, rear engine, all that weight's over the rear axle. Once it steps out a little too much, it gets pretty hairy to try to reel it back in, and you just end up going for a ride. But De Silva, at least by the evidence presented to us on track so far, seems to be a pretty experienced Porsche pilot. Having no problems whatsoever wheeling this car. Pardon the slight connection issues. Looks like Silva might be having a little bit of latency with the internet connection, but it's all good. Fingers crossed there's no more disconnects throughout this race. Back in with Sherwood now on that Ferrari 296. Not too much ground gained on Wiggins. Once Wiggins pulled out to that lead after that big sideways slide. Did not look back. That gap staying pretty consistent. We see Sherwood gaining a little bit, but no doubt Wiggins just managing that gap. It's only a minute left in this race. Let's take a look at where Barkley is on track. Monitor the situation here. It could be quickly, let's look at the best time. Best time of the day actually goes to De Silva with a 2:02.389. It's going to be a dry time. Compare that to the wet time at 2:15. The current pace out of these drivers. Roughly a 13 to 14 second differential between the dry and wet laps. So the track might be starting to dry just a bit. Not seeing the rain falling at present. Still wet enough to have spray though, so these drivers are still going to have to exercise caution here on the last few corners before the end of our race. Barkley does not have any signs of letting up, still charging hard into every corner as we see him navigate Maggots and Beckett's. Fantastic performance out of this number 46 Corvette. Considering the challenge, great performance out of all these drivers. As Barkley comes to take the flag and across the line. Going to take yet another win in the ASMR GT3 series. If you're watching and would like to join, if you have good racecraft, if you have fair pace, pace doesn't matter so much as long as you have good racecraft, good head on your shoulders, and like to have a little bit of fun. We race every Monday night. Right here, feel free to message preferably Patrick Coro. That could be the number 6 car. You saw him in the 91 car today. DM on iRacing. See if we can get you added to the league if you're so interested. Love to have more drivers out on the grid. As we see the last couple drivers navigating their way across the line. Chris brings that number 77 Ferrari home. 9th place. And that's going to do it for race 3 here at Silverstone. Really like that gold glint we're getting off that Ferrari. Blinding in some cases. Not sure what's causing that, but it's pretty neat if you ask me. But we'll hopefully see you next Monday night. Right back here. Potentially will be on an alternate YouTube channel if you are able to send a message to one of these guys and join the ASMR Discord. I'll be posting a new link in there to go back and watch stream if you'd like to. Get a view of yourself out on track. I'd like to provide that for our drivers. Great race to all our competitors, and I hope everyone watching has a good evening, and we hope to see you not only next week for the GT3's challenge, but be sure, as I said before, go check a lot of these drivers out in the ASMR Hawk Designs Truck Series over at Turn 3 Racing Network. Until then, I'm out of the box. You're watching ASMR Racing. We hope to see you again soon. Good night.